Welcome to Web Handling. My name is Dave Roysum. I am super excited to continue this new mini-series on core sizing. In this clip, we discuss the importance of controlling core moisture to prevent issues such as poor core to roll edge alignment and loose core complaints. I know your time is precious, so let's get started. It's all about water. Specifically, the water-based adhesives that are used to glue the strips together in the spiral core winding station. How much water is added and how uniform the water add-on matters. Next, we oven dry the cores. How dry this is should be a matter of contract specification and compliance checks. Finally, the cores are stored. To protect the cores from further moisture changes, the cores can be barrier wrapped on all 6 sides or stored in a conditioned room. The key concept to understanding fiber core moisture is to see how it depends on environmental humidity. Cellulose fibers of any kind, including the craft paper that makes up these cores, will take on moisture level that depends on the humidity in the environment they are stored in. For example, at a standard 50% relative humidity, or RH, the cores will eventually reach about 6% weight by water. At 75% room moisture, the cores will eventually reach about 10% water. We will describe what eventually means and how long this process takes and what this means for your converting processes shortly. So, why do we care about core moisture? There are at least 2 reasons. The first is that we care about core length. As cores dry, they shrink. This could be around 1 millimeter or 1/8 of an inch, which would not work well on many winders and which would not look good on many wound rolls. So length and roll edge appearance is more than just cutting the cores well. It also means controlling core moisture. The second reason is that as fiber cores dry out, they shrink in diameter. On many stiff materials, this can cause the bottom of the roll to be so loose that you can pull the core out by hand, even if the roll was initially wound super tight. The results may be customer complaints, such as loose winding, telescoping, and others. So, how long does it take for cores to dry out? And what does that mean for best practices for moisture management? The answer is most of the change takes place in about 1 8-hour shift. Thus, to keep cores the right length and to keep your wound roll tight, you need to do all of the following 3 things. Failure at any step is a failure for the entire process. First, the cores must be uniformly dried to the user's environment, or about the equivalent of 50% RH or about 6% core moisture by weight. Second, the cores must be protected from further changes in moisture, either by storing them in a moisture barrier wrapper or in a conditioned hot room. Finally, the operators need to use the cores within a few hours after moving them from the conditioned room. Core moisture management can be a lot of extra work. Is it worth it? Well, it might be if your customers are complaining about cores not being flush with the ends of the wound roll. Well, it also might be if you get customer complaints for loose winding near the core. To diagnose whether the supposed loose start is really loose winding or, in fact, is wet cores drying out is easy. First, this only applies to webs that are stiff, such as PET film or anything with foil. Second, this only applies to fiber cores where the winding is taking place in a wetter environment than the customer's environment. This might, for example, be when winding near coastal or jungle cities in the humid summer and then shipping to a customer that is in a dry climate or in a dry season. For those specific conditions, turn to cores first for either best core practices or use cores that don't dry out. For everything else, wind tighter. Thank you so very much for joining me in this problem solving and problem preventing series based on best practices for cores. Stay tuned for the next clip where we will talk about sizing core diameter to avoid web damage such as curl or product cracking. If you find anything interesting or useful here, please like and share and subscribe. See you next time.